The PM has finally come up with a plan to bring down power bills. He's going to subsidise household power batteries to the tune of $4,000 for an average household. They're pledging $2.3 billion for this and saying it'll lower electricity bills for everyone. Here's the Prime Minister in Brisbane earlier today.
Every household that installs a battery drives down energy prices for everyone else because it reduces peak demand. The problem at the moment is the upfront cost of a battery is too high for too many people. We're going to fix that.
Now, of course, to store power, you need to have solar panels, and that's fine. Plenty of homes do now. But even with the $4,000 subsidy, an average family would still have to pony up another $9,300. And Joe, I think a lot of people would balk at the idea of even spending $9.3 to put a battery on the side of their home. This isn't going to lower power bills for all Australians. It'll lower power bills for people who've got $10,000 in the bank to take the subsidy and go and bung a battery on the side of the house.
No, it actually does lower power bills for everyone, because the reason why power bills get higher is when the power companies do not have enough electricity to power the grid, to meet the demand that's on the grid. And so they have to buy power from the generators at the spot price at whatever it happens to be. And that is always the super highest price, because, of course, the generators know they've got them over a barrel. They have to give that electricity, and the generators can basically charge them what they want. And ironically, given it's the Greens that often jam this stuff, they're typically coal-fired power generators as well. So that's why it will lower prices for everybody, because if there is less demand, then it means that the existing grid can meet the demand of all the other households that don't have batteries, and it means that there's less, and it means that, renewables, for example, will have more of a chance to feed into the grid without having to worry about the sun not shining and the wind not blowing. So he's completely right. And again, there are also heaps and heaps of, again, I mentioned this group called the National Renewables Network, I mentioned before, that is just set up, which is actually paying people, if you get approved, paying people to take up solar and battery packages like you would a mobile phone plan, where you pay nothing up front for the phone, even though the phone costs like, $1,000 or $2,000, but you just pay it off as part of your bill, and you're paying lower power bills because you're not buying electricity at the spot price. You're just getting it from the sky. So I reckon this actually is a winner, and I reckon that this is the sort of thing that will get Labor over the line.
I do see some of the logic. I do see some of the logic in it, Joe. But Kel, when you've got mobs like Ausgrid in Sydney that are now charging people to feed their solar power back into the grid, and that would be one of the things that, if you've got electricity sitting in a battery, you either use it yourself or you feed it into the grid when the grid requires the extra power. If they're going to charge you at certain times of the day to feed it in, sure, a battery might make your situation a little better, but you still wonder, why do I bother?
Yes, and the engineering of it is still dubious. I mean, I understand the concept, the abstract concept Joe was talking about, but when I talk to engineers about it, they keep saying, you've got to understand battery technology is nowhere near where the dreamers about renewable energy keep telling us it is. It's just not there. It can't do the job yet. So with these home batteries, how much power would they provide for how long? It depends. If it's been a cloudy day, they'll give you 5 minutes power. It's not reliable technology yet. One day it may be. But it's not. All of the big battery arrays that are being built are still debatable.
Yeah, the big batteries are. The household batteries, though, they are totally. That is.
But also, how many people would have to actually take up this scheme to actually reduce demand to such a point that it has a material impact on the electricity spot price? Like, you would need thousands and thousands and thousands of Australians paying $10,000 to install a battery. I just don't see that happening.
Again, the private market will come forward and say, all right, we will, you can install a solar battery for free. We will actually cover the balance of that upfront cost, just like they do with all sorts of. As soon as they see a government putting money in things, they go, right, this is a way that we can.
Basically, this is a propping up operation. Yeah, of course. This is a recognition. Renewables don't work, and they need to be constantly propped up. Every time I look at renewables, I think of Joe Biden, who spent 4 years being propped up in the White House, being told where to walk.
They'll give him. The coalition is going to prop up an entire nuclear industry.
I'll get Evelyn in here.
I just think if this was a serious solution that had tangible, practical good benefits for everyday Australians. Why the heck has he waited this long to actually implement it? And because of that, I know it's a farce. I think most Australians know it's a farce. It does logically sound good on paper, but practically they're not living out in the bush. I can tell you, I'm the one who lives off batteries and solar because you can't get power to where I am. And I'm constantly, and I know plenty of farmers that constantly have to top up those batteries with fuel, with the diesel going in when the solar can't power the batteries and then the battery can't power the house. It's just a mess, the whole thing.
And I do find it funny as you note that, governments wait until an election campaign to come out and they say, this will change the world.
Well, 4 years.
Well, if you're going to announce something good, you do it during an election campaign.